please pay attention because he's going to start talking real greasy very early in this video. Listen.
That would help the problem? You don't think so? Do you understand why I'm abusive?
Do you understand the psychology behind
Listen,
it?
I'm going to bounce your head off this wall if you don't shut up and listen. I'm abusive because I'm so frustrated with the fact that I know you know what you're doing. I know that you know you're playing games. So you're the if you just took a little bit of accountability for your actions, things wouldn't happen.
This is on a t-shirt.
It's a t-shirt. It's a t-shirt. It's being late. It's you can't do things in a timely fashion. Listen. It fucks us up. It fucks us up. It fucks us up. And you don't even care. Yes, because you don't care.
That doesn't make me more stressed.
Because you don't give a. You don't give a. You know, listen. You don't fucking circle. It helps. Listen, do you think this is talking like that? No. Well, listen, do you think being an asshole?
You have me push him against the wall.
You think doing this? You think
this? You have me push him against the wall. I'm going to help you however I want.
You think this is going to help?
Let me know.
Do you think this is going to help?
I don't care what helps. It doesn't work.
Okay, let's fucking do it. Let's fucking do it. You don't care about it, right?
No.
Let's take it out right now.
No.
Come on. Take one step for you. Crush your face. Let's not be like that. All you had to do was not be a condescending. Listen, all you had to do was not be a condescending.
You figure it out.
Listen.
You figure it out.
All you had to do.
Don't mess them up to the point of them hurting someone or hurting themselves. It's all
all
you know. You got it. No, you got it. I'm done.
Okay, that's fine. Listen.
No, I'm done.
Listen.
I'm done.
I'm talking to you.
Smile. I'm done.
Listen.
No, I'm done.
Listen.
I'm done. I'm done.
You're not done.
I'm done.
Listen, this is it.
This is too much. I'm done.
Then listen, let's fix it right this second.
I'm done. No, I'm done.
Is he mocking her?
It's a game with you.
I'm done. You're f***ed up. This is not.
Because you won't listen? Because when I'm trying to, I keep up to solve a problem, and you got nothing with
I'm not
me.
trying to solve anything.
Listen, Ginger, come here now, because I want to talk to you. Listen to me. Let's get down and
I
talk.
can't even protect my kids.
Listen, let's sit down and talk. Sit down.
No.
That would help the problem?
All right. You know what? Okay, listen. I need to grab a book. Hold on. There's this book by Lundy Bancroft called Why Does He Do That? Right? This is a book that will help you understand the behaviors of men who are abusive, right? And then there's this book right here by Gerda Lerner called The Creation of Patriarchy. The reason why I'm bringing up these two books in particular, as well as please Google, am I in an abusive relationship checklist or domestic violence checklist, so that you can ask yourself some key questions to see if you are in an abusive relationship. So number one, there are a group of women on TikTok who post videos like this for varied reasons. Some of them post it because they just want people to see and hear what's going on in their lives. Some people post it because they're looking to find people who are having similar issues. There are people who post these types of videos because they want to complain and stay in a situation. Other people are looking to get out of the situation. I did happen to contact this woman, and I was like, well, I wrote because I was trying to figure out why she posted this. Because I'm trying to figure out, okay, is this something, are you looking for help? You know, I'm just trying to figure out. So this is the video, and I asked her, I said, why are you posting this on the internet? Are you in a hotel? Have you left? And she wrote back and said, I started posting way before I left, but I delete them a few days later. I just wanted to see if anyone cared at first, but now he's been removed from the home. All right. So she says she put this up to see if anybody cared. So first and foremost, when it comes to the stages of abuse, first they'll break down your self-esteem, and first they'll be amazing so that you see yourself in a reflection of the amazing way in which they see you. so that when it starts to switch and they start to be critical, you'll say, well, this person, they must know what they're talking about because they knew what they were talking about before when they thought I was so amazing. And then as the critiques become more and more ferocious, you internalize it as something that you have done wrong. Let me just state this here for the record. There's nothing that you can do aside from having a lethal, mortal weapon aimed or at the jugular of a person that warrants them using force to stop you from taking their life. And then that force can be equal and opposite to the amount of force that you are exhibiting at that moment. So once the threat is done, that's it. We can see that this man is obviously an aggressor. He said that if you don't be quiet, I'm going to bash your head up against this wall. Ladies, I need you to take these threats very seriously. Please understand that these men are very violent. And if they make a threat like that, please take them at their word. Understand that there is nothing that you have done, could do, or will ever do besides getting ready to take their life that could warrant them using force against you, and then force enough to stop you from trying to take their life. Anything less than that? Absolutely not. Part of the reason that I asked you to look at this book is because there's a chapter in this book, right, that talks about how these men give themselves permission. He asked, because this is a psychologist who was doing group therapy with men who were mandated by the court to do this therapy, right? And he asked, well, why didn't you XYZ? Why didn't you just, because the men were like, I had no choice but to do this. I had to do it, right? And he's like, well, why don't you just unalive her? Why don't you just, pop her eyes out or whatever? He gave some examples in there, and the guys were like, at first they were like, yeah, why didn't I? And then some guys were like, oh no, that would have been excessive. There is a certain amount of force and violence that they have in their mind that they feel that you deserve. Why? And then we have this book right here, The Creation of the Patriarchy. Are men like this in their DNA? Is this just a way that they just can't help themselves, right? In this book, written by an anthropologist and a person who I believe has their doctorate, a person who is well learned and well studied, she posits that no, this is not embedded in their DNA. However, this is embedded in the type of programming that these men have. That there is something going on in the way that we are socializing boys and men to think that women are their property, that they have dominion over women, that they have a right to do what it is that they please, that they are entitled to XYZ from women. And so in this book right here by Lundy, right, he talks about, notice, these men know how to behave when they're talking to the police. They know how to behave at work. If you're in a situation like this and you think that this is your fault and that maybe you did something to cause him to not be able to control himself, ask yourself, like if he's breaking up your things or breaking up things in the house, does he ever break up any of his things? Like if he's so out of control, why is it targeted towards you? When he's at work, so like he's saying, if you don't shut up and listen, I'm going to bash your head up against the wall. If he were talking to a coworker, would he feel that it was appropriate to bash his coworker's head up against the wall? No, why not? Because there's something about being in romantic connection with you that he gives himself permission to go there because he knows how to be a normal, even upstanding citizen out in the street. But at home, he gives himself permission to unleash on you. You don't deserve it in any form or facet. Take them at their word and look up the data for how many women are unalived by men. And pay attention. Me personally, see, I'm a self-love specialist, right? And so I have a certain amount of self-love that when somebody tells me something that I know to be an effing lie, I reject it right out of my sphere, so that they never get the chance for it to escalate to here, because by the time they start say, listen, you called me out my name, I'm gone. I'm gone. Listen, I was never acculturated into that. One of the things that my parents made sure of when we were in the home is that we were not called out of our names. I've never been called a B by my parents. It was never acceptable. However, there's other programming that I had in my relationships, in my relationship with my parents that showed up in romantic relationships. So I want you to see when you're in a relationship with a person and something seems normal or familiar, you have to follow it back to its genesis. I'm doing a retreat at the end of this week, and one of the things that we're going to be talking about is our programming. So I need you to follow that familiar feeling back to its genesis and see, where did you first begin to feel that something like this was acceptable? Why is this acceptable in your relationship? Listen, personally, I don't know how women do it who have been in these abusive relationships. I don't like pain. And I don't like feeling scared, and I don't like feeling threatened. I don't like feeling unsafe or insecure. I don't like those things. It is repulsive, revolting to me. And I need you to work on your self-love so much that even when a man raises his voice at you, that you are revolted by it. Please understand that these are some very violent beings. Take them at their word. When they threaten you with violence, pay attention. You see how she didn't want to talk to him? And listen, after a while, from what it is that I hear about abusive relationships, the women will go back and forth with them. Honey, take him at his word. He's stronger than you. He's bigger than you are. And he has the ability to take your life with his bare hands. Don't chance it. Start figuring out your way out. Make sure that you start saving up some money, start working on, I don't care if you have to do OnlyFans, selling foot pics, whatever it is that you need to do, make yourself enough money to be able to get out of there. There are shelters that will keep your location private so that you can be able to get on your feet. There are grants and there are ways that you can do it. However, you got to be smart about it, because when it's time for you to leave, that is one of the most dangerous times for a woman in an abusive relationship. So you have to be ready emotionally, psychologically for that type of fight. Listen, not the physical fight, but that emotional fight of cutting off the life that you have come to know, because the bad overpowers the good. I understand that he may seem amazing 90% of the time, but that time that threatens your life is more potent than the gaslighting, than the love bombing, than the smoke up your behind times in which he is pretending to be somebody other than you know him to be. Listen, other than you know him to be. Get out of there. Get out of there.
Be a part of the live show with thousands of other viewers. Go to TonyaTKO.com/text and join the text notification squad and get a text whenever I go live. Support the show and yourself, and I'll see you on the next live broadcast.